We're going straight over live to the first round of a brand new series, the Honda 500 Cup. 10 rounds in all, finishing at Brands Hatch in October. All the riders are on identical Honda VF 500s, and as you'll hear now from Chris Carter, we've a Le Mans style start for you.
You join us, in fact, at the start of the warm-up lap. The riders are going to go around for one lap just to get the tyres closer to operating temperatures, and this is, as you say, Tony, the first round of what promises to be an exciting new series, the Honda V500 Formula. Riders on identical machines, and one of the things this championship has done is it has encouraged dealers to come back into sponsorship. We've got 32 machines actually coming out onto the grid, out of a possible 38, one or two people having had problems. Mark Kellner, the youngster from Bolton, is one man who's had mechanical problems, and he won't be able to run in the race, but a lot of other people have, and it does mean that dealers who were keen to get involved in racing but didn't really want to get involved with an awful lot of expense have been encouraged to support this new championship. Lots of new ideas in it. A prize going to the person who improves the most between his practice performance and his race performance, and money as well for the youngsters, because for the best rider under 23 there's going to be a cash award of £150. So lots of loot for an entry that ranges from 19-year-old Steve Mason, a boy that's been involved in the European and Grand Prix scene on 80cc and 125cc machines, and goes on all the way up to the oldest man in the race, and that is 39-year-old Keith Sanderson, riding a machine entered by Andy Bone Motorcycles. So, equal machines and a vast variety of experience, ability, age and the knowledge, and with the track once again wet, Peter Clifford, we're in for a bit of an eye-opener, I think.
Yes, I think we are. A lot of the riders are concerned with how they're going to perform in these slippery conditions. The tyres are fixed. Not only the machines must all be the same, but they have to use the standard road-going front tyre and a Dunlop Intermediate Racing rear tyre. And the front tyre could prove a little bit hard in these very, very cold and wet conditions, and it'll be a while before they warm up.
And in fact, a faller and the hairpin already, and that, how great an embarrassment can you get when you fall off on the warm-up lap, Peter?
Well, that's certainly very embarrassing, but just proving how slippery this track is, and I'm sure we're in for a little bit of excitement, to say the least.
So the field slowly making their way back to the grid, and this will be a Le Mans style start, and the bikes, of course, arranged at the side of the track, being held by one assistant. The riders will line up on the other side of the track, and well, for people like you and me, Peter, this will be the most difficult bit, sprinting across the track to get on the bike, but they'll sprint across the track onto the bike, and away they go on the start of what promises to be an interesting and entertaining race.
And of course, number 0 there in the middle of your picture, Matt Oxley, the road tester for Motorcycle News. He's got a lot of experience at Le Mans start, being an experienced endurance rider, rides 24-hour race and 12-hour races, and they often are started with a Le Mans start, running across the track. He knows what it's about.
He does indeed, and of course Matt Oxley, a man who's won an Isle of Man TT race, he won one of the production classes last year, is a very experienced road racer, and his performance will not count in this championship. His points and his results will not count. But Matt is in there just seeing what it's all about for a feature to go in his newspaper in the fullness of time. Well, Keith Nichols, the 24-year-old from Preston, on bike number 5 was the fastest, and next to him was a name that we've already heard on this programme so far today, and that's Burnett. But this isn't Roger, it's his brother Ian, and Ian has done extremely well. Younger brother Ian Burnett, 24 years of age. They're lined up on the other side of the track, ready for this Le Mans start. We'll talk a little bit about Ian Burnett and the rest of them as the race progresses. Let's just see them, boys. It really is going to be a sprint job. I've never seen guys, they really are nervous and apprehensive about it all. The red flag goes up to say you're under starter's orders. They're looking at the traffic lights. They sprint across the track, leap onto the bike, and away they go. And Ian Burnett got a flyer. Ian Burnett was very worried about this start. He didn't like the idea at all, but he's made a flyer. And the best thing you can do is to get to the front, but he may have been quick, but he's not quick enough, because Keith Nichols has gone out into the lead, and Ian Burnett, in fact, has dropped back to third place. But you can see how slippery it is there, and if they all stay up, it will be a miracle. The field cautiously picking their way through Redgate, down through Hollywood, and conditions very, very difficult indeed. And that's Keith Nichols, the man who was fastest in practice. And he's throwing cautions to the wind. He's really charging out in front. I spotted that Ian Burnett was in third place. We're going to have to wait to pick him up to see who's in second spot. This is the race leader. Identical machines. Only modification from normal road-going things is that Motard exhaust system's been put on, and that's really for the noise rather than for the performance. So the performance very similar to what these 500cc road bikes would put out. And Keith Nichols, number 5, is the man who leads this exciting new series at its very first round, and a whole bunch of them going through. And that was David Leach. Well, David Leach, of course, is a former man of the series at in the Marlborough Clubman's Championship, so Dave Leach knows all about road racing. 4 riders side by side coming into the S's, and it's Dave Leach in second spot.
It's Oxley who's up into second spot. Matt Oxley, letter O, up into second spot, ahead of 34 and 8.
So Matt Oxley, with all his experience there, has got through to second place, but he's got a whole bunch of riders breathing down his neck as they battle for second, third, fourth and fifth spots. And they're absolutely side by side, and Matt Oxley's being given the treatment there by Ken Dobson. Number 34, Ken Dobson, ahead of Matt Oxley. And Oxley looking for the inside line, and the door's going to be shut, and Matt Oxley almost paid the penalty for that ambitious overtaking manoeuvre at the end of the first lap. The race leader, Keith Nichols, second place, number 34, Ken Dobson, and in third spot is MCN journalist Matt Oxley. In fourth position was Ian Young on bike number 8. And there's David Leach just behind him. David Leach on bike number 6. And that's the gap between the first man and the rest of the pack. And everyone now beginning to force on the pace as Matt Oxley finds the better line, pushing himself into second spot ahead of Ken Dobson. And Ken Dobson, 26 years of age, from Hayes in Middlesex, battling away there with Matt Oxley. And I'll see if I can work out who is going to be the man to collect the £150 for the best under 23.
Dobson moves up to try and overtake Oxley again for second place, can't quite do it. Dobson, although now he lives in England, trying to make his way through racing here as originally a New Zealander. He's right on Oxley's tail, he'll be in the slipstream going down the straight. It's Oxley's machine that's pushing the air away, and Dobson can get a good toe, and he'll try and pop out the slipstream as he does now to move up the inside on the brakes. A real test of braking, and Dobson has taken over second place from Oxley.
He's got a very tight line then, and that'll push him in wide, and Oxley may have the benefit of the acceleration coming out. Dobson with Oxley right behind, and Oxley pulls out of the slipstream, goes through to take the lead, and we've already seen one of these motorcycles on the deck in the warm-up lap, but no problems this time for Messrs Oxley and Dobson side by side. This is the battle for second place, and Dobson's going for the inside line again. It's all heavy on the braking. Oh, and Matt didn't want to know about that then, Peter.
No, he ran wide there. He wasn't quite sure of where Dobson was going. Thought that Dobson might run wide and gave him plenty of room, but with the result that he's lost ground on Dobson, and it's going to be hard for him to pick it up as they're both such even machines.
And here's a nice little group behind, and heading the group is number 9, Ian Burnett. Well, Ian Burnett, an intelligent young man. He's got 11 O-levels, would you believe? And the yellow flags are going, and they're just picking up some debris there. Now, whether that was one of the leaders down or not, we shall have to wait and see.
I think it must have been one of the leaders.
It was the race leader, Keith Nichols, the man who went down there. So that scrap we were seeing between Matt Oxley and Ken Dobson is in fact for the lead. Well, man who saw the incident, I'm sure, down there at Redgate would be Barry Sheen. Barry, what happened down there?
Well, Keith Nichols, I was just thinking how smoothly he was riding, and he came into Redgate and locked up the back wheel a bit as he was coming in. Consequently, he went in a little bit too quick, and he just laid into the corner and lost the front end of the bike. So, as Peter was saying about the intermediate tyre on the front, it's not getting too hot, not working too good. But he's okay, hasn't hurt himself.
Well, that's good news to know that Keith Nichols, the man who was leading, hasn't hurt himself. So there will be a new leader next time round, which will be the end of the third lap. And this little battle we've got on at the moment is the scrap for 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th positions. With number 9, Ian Burnett, ahead of Dave Leach, Phil Arms, the tail end of that little group is Chris Branning. So some experienced road racing names in that group there, Peter, with Ian Burnett in only his 2nd season of racing, doing very well to be holding what will be 4th position now.
Yes, he's doing very well, and of course it's a different style of riding required on these machines to your full-blown racing bikes. They certainly don't have an excess of power, so it's smooth riding and making use of what power you have to apply it smoothly and as early in the corner as you possibly can that gives you the advantage.
There is the race leader, number 34, Ken Dobson. Ahead of him, number 0, Matt Oxley, who will not score points or win any money. I don't think he's there really as a guest rider in this championship. He's not going to do the series as a whole. He's just seeing what it's all about. And in 3rd spot is bike number 8, and that's Ian Young.
And Oxley, of course, has the advantage as a road tester to ride all sorts of bikes on the road in very difficult conditions. And he's ridden through the winter testing machines as we watch number 8, Ian Young. Oxley's, oh, and he gets it all sideways. Very, very lucky to control that. He just got onto the white line, accelerating out of the corner. Did number 8, Ian Young, and the bike slid sideways and luckily came off the white line and gripped again.
And a chance to see Ian Young's moment of near disaster, winding on the power in 3rd place at the moment, and oh, there it goes sideways. That's what we might term a change of underwear job, Peter.
Yes, it certainly will have detuned him a little bit. He'll have lost ground on Oxley and won't be trying too hard to catch up for a lap, trying to feel his way and get his confidence back. As you can see, he's now lost ground on Oxley, who's in 2nd place.
So there is 3rd place man, Ian Young. And there's the battle for the lead. Ian Young going into the S's now. Lost some ground with that moment. And Ian Young in 3rd place is the best of the youngsters. So Ian is on target for £150 as a bonus from Sperling for the best under-23 rider in the race. So the first 3 men safely through, and Ian Young certainly can't just well to fall off this time. That would be a very foolish thing to do. He's going to win £150 for the best under 23 if he keeps going in this. He's going to pick up the prize money for 3rd spot, and there is a Motad award for the person who improves the most on his practice thing. Well, Ian Young was 7th, but Ken Dobson was only 5th, so Ken Dobson, I think, is likely to pick that award up as well as first prize if he stays on. Ken Dobson then, bike number 34, ahead of the guest journalist Matt Oxley.
And Oxley
this
now,
is the 5th lap now.
And Oxley now chasing Dobson, and Dobson has nobody fast in front of him to watch. Oxley can watch Dobson, watch his every move, watch where the track is more slippery, see where Dobson might be getting a few slides, and therefore adjust his own line and riding style to suit.
And there is a faller, so conditions still fairly tricky. And that's Steve Mason, the 19-year-old from Donington in Derbyshire. And Steve Mason has thrown away the headstocks of Mansfield Honda. Well, Fortunately, Steve Mason unhurt, but he's not the only one to have found how slippery conditions are. And really the youngsters going very well indeed at the moment. Ian Young, one of the under-23s, just checking, he's 22 years of age. We're watching now 34 and 0, that's Ken Dobson and Matt Oxley. In third place is number 8, who's 22 years of age. In fourth spot is Dave Leach, who's just 23 and qualifies for the thing. And in sixth spot at the moment is Chris Brennick. And we'll just check on how old he's 23 as well. So the youngster's going very well indeed at the moment.
And Oxley has to get closer to Dobson. His only real chance of overtaking, he's never going to do anything from that distance back. These bikes are so evenly matched, obviously being identical machines, that he has to get into Dobson's slipstream before he can do anything about passing him. So it's a gradual case of pegging away.
Half distance then in this opening round of the Honda VF 500cc.
And Oxley won't want to be stepping his neck out, because any sort of slide, anything, even if he collects it, will ruin any chance he has of winning the race. So he's got to treat it very, very cautiously and yet make up ground all the time.
So Ken Dobson, the man who leads at the moment, from Matt Oxley. Ian Young, and in fourth position at the moment, number 6, Dave Leach. Behind Dave Leach is number 31, that's Phil Arms. In sixth position is number 11, Chris Brannick. And in seventh spot, number 23, and that's Rob Tolton. And here's the battle between number 11, Chris Brannick, and 23, Rob Tolton. They're battling at the moment for 6th and 7th position, and it was Tolton who managed to dive through inside Brannick. And here's a superb little dice between Dave Leach. Well, Dave's already proved himself a very talented rider in the Marlborough Clubman Series. Yeah, the man is having a go with his Phil Arms. Well, Phil, you've seen Phil Arms riding club meetings, Peter. The young son of Murray and Cullen Arms, well known as organisers of motorcycle race meetings.
Yes, they've organised race meetings in Snetterton for a long time, and the son now doing very, very well. He's pulled up alongside number 6 going down the straight, and dipping and weaving between the two of them, fighting for the better line into the corner.
This is a scrap for 4th and 5th place. Leach, number 6, hanging on to 4th position. Phil Arms, number 31, side by side. And they're still side by side as they exit, and Arms looks as though he's got a wheels advantage, but Dave Leach is on the better line as they come down to the Melbourne hairpin, the new extension of this Donington Park circuit. And Phil Arms goes through and he drifts wide, but Dave Leach just had to knock the power off for a fraction of a second. And Leach is going to go for the classic overtaking manoeuvre on the inside, heavy braking.
And Arms goes for the slow in and hoping for a faster out to catch Leach, but Leach got the power on early anyway and holds the advantage.
4th and 5th positions here. Number 6, Dave Leach. 31, Phil Arms.
And these bikes, just road-going machines that anyone can buy in a Honda dealership off the shop floor, with very few modifications, only the exhaust system so that they make a bit more noise, create a little bit more of a spectacle, but otherwise they're absolutely standard as you can ride on the road. And these two having a really great ride. Terrific outside manoeuvre from Arms there to sweep round the outside of Leach, but Leach is going back at him.
Arms decided that Leach was far too slow, going down through trainer curves, and this is the race leader. By number 34, Ken Dobson, qualified 5th fastest in the 2-time training sessions today, and he's opened up a gap on the guest journalist Matt Oxley, who's in 2nd spot. Ian Young still there, number 8 in 3rd position, and then in 4th and 5th spot, the battle we've just been watching between number 6 Dave Leach and 31 Phil Arms. Ian Burnett's still there in 6th place, and as I was saying before, Ian must be one of the most best most academic road racers of all. He's got 11 O-levels, would you believe? That's Ian Burnett, who's down in 6th place at the moment. But this is the race leader, Ken Dobson, having a splendid ride. Riding for Bill Smith, 26 years of age, Ken Dobson. 3 laps to go, 7 completed for the first 2 men, and quite a gap between these two and the 3rd place man.
And just like Oxley, Dobson is a very experienced endurance rider, so although he's out on his own in these tricky conditions, he should now be in a very, very smooth, comfortable groove, got his concentration to a point where it's all flowing, him and the machine, and he shouldn't be making any mistakes. He has the experience not to make any mistakes at this point.
And here is the battle between number 9, Ian Burnett, who is in 6th place. Oh, and serious problems there. Is he going to keep it? Oh, dear, 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 dear. I don't know what it did to him, but it took years off my life then. And Ian Burnett showing exactly how not to do it on the curbstones. Well, Ian Burnett, we saw Roger Burnett's brother in action in somewhat smoother style in the Transatlantic Challenge. And, well, Barry Sheen, what do you think to Ian Burnett's performance then?
Well, I think he's going very well. Actually, what happened this last time when he ran on the curb, that's incidentally the 2nd time he's been up at the curb, he came into the corner and missed a gear, I think, and he had his feet off the footrest as he went into the corner, so I think he was quite pleased and quite lucky to get out of it. In actual fact, the guy in front of him went on the curb as well.
Ian Burnett was telling me he's got 11 O-levels, and presumably it doesn't necessarily mean that you're very intelligent to go road racing.
It does not make any difference. Listen, if I can be a good road racer, there's hope for anybody without O-levels, isn't there, really?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Ian Burnett back in action, trying to make up for that near disaster on the curbs going round Redgate. He's got an awful lot of ground to make up. And Burnett, in his 2nd season of racing, the younger brother of Roger Burnett, has got a lot of work to do to catch the leaders ahead of him. 2 laps to go. This is the race leader, number 34, Ken Dobson.
And it looks as though Oxley in 2nd place has certainly decided that there's no way he's going to catch Dobson. And Dobson getting away there, riding very, very smoothly indeed.
Well, Barry, it's been an all-action race, has it not?
Well, it sure has. There's been 3 people falling off here at Redgate, and after seeing Kevin Schwantz in the match races fall down there, Redgate Corner, when you think about it, it's claimed quite a lot of people. It's had Freddie Spencer, world champion, fall on his face there, Marco Lucinelli, so it should be all action in the next transatlantic race, because with the conditions the way they are at the moment, it's a lot slipperier than it was for the first race, so I think we could be in for a spot of action, to say the least.
Well, we shall await the 2nd leg of the Transatlantic Challenge with interest. In the meantime, this man has got 1.5 laps to go to wrap up victory in the opening round of this new Honda V500 Formula Cup. An interesting new championship, and all credit to Honda UK for putting their enthusiasm and initiative and resources behind the series. It's bringing some new names to the fore, and as we said at the start of this particular race, it's encouraging some dealers to get into sponsorship, and of course, as with so many sports, sponsorship is the keynote. So Dobson charging down to Melbourne Corner with this man Matt Oxley in pursuit. Well, I should think Matt will be pleased with himself, Peter.
Yes, I think he will. He's ridden a very intelligent race. He gave it his all from the beginning when there was a chance of battling with Dobson, and when he realised he couldn't and realised that there was nobody close behind him, he's just coasted very carefully into a nice 2nd place behind this man, number 34, the New Zealander Ken Dobson. And Dobson's next race will be the Le Mans 24-hour race on Ken Hull's 750 Honda V4, so he'll be riding a Honda again in a couple of weeks in the 24-hour endurance race, and he'll be more than thrilled if he can repeat this sort of performance there, of course.
And Ken Dobson well out almost halfway round this lap, as third place man Ian Young, who's still hanging on there. Back into fourth position goes Dave Leach. He and number 31, that's Phil Arms, have been battling away for much of the race, so Phil Arms still there in fifth spot. In sixth position at the moment is Rob Colton on bike number 23. Then in seventh place is number 11 Chris Barney, and back in eighth spot number 9 Ian Burnett.
Dobson right flat on the tank of the 500, now sits up and brakes. Picks a line through the S's, flicks it one way, then the other on the grippier tarmac of the new circuit.
Dobson then just a few hundred yards away from the checkered flag, just about half new extension to go. Then he'll come up to the old chicane as was. And Dobson has ridden a very fine race. As I say, he qualified fifth fastest in practice, but he's going to win it, and that will give him a bonus of £150 from Motan as the man who improves the most. And in fact, he can afford almost to sit up, but he's still down on the tank. So Ken Dobson wins this opening round of the new Honda V500 series. In second place will be Matt Oxley, the guest journalist in this opening round. Third home should be Ian Young. And there is third place man Ian Young. And time to go down to Tony Francis at Redgate. But not at the moment, so we'll follow Ken Dobson on the way round on his victory lap. He will be well pleased with that. There's confirmation of the result. Ken Dobson the winner, Matt Oxley in second place, Ian Young third. Well, Matt Oxley will have got plenty to write about for the feature, Peter.
Yes, he will. It's very good to see the TT winner do so well on the short circuit.
So, confirmation of that result, Ken Dobson the winner, Matt Oxley second, and Ian Young third. And time to go down